You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Gene Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AfterBuzz TV's Hell's Kitchen After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's Hell's Kitchen After Show.
You know it.
Hey.
Season 12.
Hey. Hey.
12 Chef Compete. The #1 Hell's Kitchen After Show. How are you, Gordon Ramsay fans? Leo Quinones with you, and riding shotgun, Lem Gonsalves.
What up, everybody? Hell's Kitchen in the hizzos.
Cliffhanger time!
I know. Crazy.
What are you doing to me? We'll get to that in a minute.
We will. We will.
A comment has poured in, Lem.
Oh, it poured in. I love it.
And we
It's poured in from the river. It's poured
here
in.
it is. No,
right.
This is great because
Okay.
we read the comments. We love the comments. Thank you so much for accepting the Hell's Kitchen show. I think the fans, like us, are just
Yes.
digging it,
Oh, love
digging
it. Love it.
This one is from our friend Leon Washburn.
Okay.
Leon writes, first off, I don't watch the actual Hell's Kitchen TV show. At least not since the first or second season because of Chef Ramsay being mean, yelling and insulting and all the time. However, when I had some free time, I decided to watch the after show the first week of May. Your after show is fantastic. Leon, all right.
Word.
It has all the fun and info you could want without any of the yelling or insults. Really? Really, Leon?
I think we should break it out.
I can't promise I'll start watching Hell's Kitchen, although I may give it another chance, but I will be watching this AfterBuzz TV show. You guys are great. Leon Washburn. Thanks,
Word.
Leon. Yeah?
Thanks, Leon.
And I promised Len that I wasn't going to do this.
Tea.
It just feels...
Tea.
It just feels right.
Tea.
Well, let's get into this show. And again, it's becoming hotter. 12 chefs only. We started
Yes,
with 20.
we did.
And now we've whittled away the week. Nicole, Simone, Chris Eversole, Beth Taylor, DeMarco, Michael Aresta,
Gone.
Bev, and Chef G.
Right.
Everyone does it.
Everyone does it. Rest in peace.
So now, what I love about the show is it starts with immediate drama upstairs in the dorm,
Yes.
the liberation room.
Yes.
Red team had some thoughts. And again, it was Joy. You know, I think she had, what about her revelations? Because at the end of last show,
Right.
Jessica was standing up, you know, before Gordon God and saying, you know, I was homeless. But then,
Right.
then we learned something about Joy.
Yeah, we did. And she basically said, you know, I know she said that, but the thing is, she said, I was homeless too. She said, I've lived in shelters. And she basically was telling some of her stories also. But her philosophy was, Chef Ramsay doesn't need to know that. I've overcome that. I'm here in Hell's Kitchen. I'm here to be the top chef. So I don't want you to feel sorry for me.
Yeah.
And that was her issue with Jessica.
She says she slept in shelters and
Yes.
on steps.
Yes.
And that builds character. You know, adversity, you know, how you come through it on the other side.
Right.
I don't think it was right to use it as a crutch.
Yes.
In front of Chef Ramsay.
Not at all.
You know?
I mean, I think it was a ploy, a pity ploy. For her to get to stay and, you know, just to kind of tell her story. I mean, and you look at these, you know, reality shows, and a lot of times people are cast because of their backstory. And I think she was trying to play on that to be like, you know, the heartstrings and Gordon Ramsay. And not to say that, you know, it's an unfortunate she's been in that situation, but that doesn't have anything to do with her efforts in the kitchen.
Right on. Well, let's get into this challenge, a different kind of a challenge.
And just so I can add,
Yeah.
she has a very ugly cry. It was a pretty ugly cry.
Well, on that, it's not about the best tantrum. It's about the best talent. And I'm glad you picked up on that because the velocity of her cry.
Yeah.
I'm just glad she doesn't have anything sharp in her hands.
Right.
You know, so it's a little. I can just That's a butt cringe. That's a dorm butt cringe. You know, everyone's like, "Whoa, what's going on with her?"
Exactly.
So we will continue to investigate what's going on with Chef Jersey Jess.
Yes.
Who stiffed this last week? That's
Jersey
all right.
Jess.
Wonder why that happened. All right, here we go. The challenge that Gordon threw down was adaptation. Not knowing what you're going to do. The domes were lit up, and you had to figure out which protein went with which starch and with which vegetable. So they have 30 minutes. But this time, the twist, everybody was on their own.
Yes.
You know, even though it's blue and red,
right?
It's like let's watch you cook in 30
minutes. You can't blame
minutes.
anybody on that.
Yeah. So Jess, at this point in the game, should know that swordfish is pretty much a whitish fish on presentation,
right?
And tuna is almost blood red. I mean. I don't know what to say about that.
I don't think you even need to be a chef. I think you just need to be a human being.
Yeah.
An adult human being to know that those two are not the same color.
That wasn't about pressure. That was just about inexperience.
Right.
So again, let's start off with this challenge. We had Jessica up there, and then Sandra. Now she was up there as well. She wanted to pick potatoes. She tried to cook with the potatoes, and then Jessica shot her down and basically said, I can't really say, but she said "F you."
Right.
You know, I'm like, wow, that was another.
That was hard.
I was cutting to the bone.
That was.
You know, because you're in. You know. At the end of the day, if Jess's dish is good and Sandra dish is good, they're going to beat them in.
Exactly. Because they are working on the same team.
Even though you're on your own.
Right.
It's like you got to help each other out. So that was really screwed up. So Sandra got the egg noodles, okay? But you know what? Our guest from last week, Rochelle Bergman.
Yes.
Earlier in the year was cooking polenta for the first time, and Gordon said it was delicious.
Yes, he did.
Right? And now you saw her fiddling around with the live lobster. Do you have the balls to do that, Lem, with the lobster and a knife?
I don't, which is why I'm not on Hell's Kitchen.
I don't think I can do it either. I mean,
it would be tough.
I mean, I think I could throw it in a big pot of water and hear it scream.
Right.
Which is pretty barbaric.
Yeah.
And then they say, oh, they don't feel it. I mean,
Come on now.
I don't know.
Come on.
How do you
it's alive.
prove it? How do you prove it?
Well, yeah, they have they put heart monitors to the lobster. And,
yeah, lobsters don't have a comment section with their claw.
Right.
It hurts.
Yeah, I think this is a ploy. But no, I'm glad that she is showing herself to try new things and still exceed in it.
Yeah.
And excel.
So the chef who was actually being the judge, Michael Cimarusti from Providence in Los Angeles, he gave Rochelle real props on her lobster.
Yes, he did.
I mean, it's such an easy. I'm intimidated, as most people are. Like, I don't want to ruin it. I want to ruin everyone's dinner.
Right.
I don't want to blow $50 on a live lobster and then overcook it. So, you know, Rochelle really nailed the live lobster challenge.
She did.
Really well done. And okay, let's talk about Ralph. What do you think about Ralph's approach in this challenge?
The lackadaisical kind of like, I'll just take my time. Well, this is me. He said he's confident. And I believe that he's been pretty consistent, I think, overall. So I think he was thinking like, okay, I'm not going to fight over an ingredient.
Right.
Whatever's left, I'm just going to work with. I think once he had his protein, he kind of felt like he could probably go either way. Whatever was going to be there, he was going to work with and kind of just, show a skill. And that's where he was doing it instead of trying to jump in. Because if you look at the reason why that was happening on the red team, it didn't happen in the blue team, but twice Sandra was caught up in getting ingredients with somebody else. Yeah. Exactly. So
you don't think it had anything to do with Ralph not being able to reach up and grab it? I'm sorry, little pit bull. I'm just screwing around. Absolutely.
I didn't say it. Leo did. Not me. I didn't say it.
So let's get to it. Ralph had his pistachio kind of on his steak, and the chef said it tasted too much like pistachio. And then we had Keisha, who. It was so great to see. What did the chef say? He said something to the effect of, wow, you did that in 30 minutes. What if you had 2 hours?
2 hours. Imagine how amazing it would be.
And then you see Keisha just lift up off the ground.
Yeah.
And I just love that moment for her.
I think, too, it's good to see her because I think, in the beginning, I think she was noted as an underdog, possibly because of her experience or whatever. I mean, she definitely had her voice be heard, but I think also just as a chef, I think she lacked a little bit because it was a little bit intimidating. I think she lacked a little bit of confidence, but I see her every single season or every single episode, that her confidence is rising and rising. And I think this was a prime example that she belongs to be here.
That's right.
She belongs here.
The next pairing was Richard and Rochelle with the Lobster round. Now, again, Richard's been doing this for many, many years, and Rochelle's still pretty new.
120 years or something?
Yeah, you've been doing this 200 years.
Right.
So he lost his end of the challenge, and like we said, Rochelle, well, she fired it up great.
Exactly.
The next one we had Jason with the sea bass going head-to-head with Joy and her sea bass. And then Jason kind of knocked it out of the park. He's been waiting in the wings. I just think he does have anger issues, Jason. I know we're going to get you on the show, but I just think that they're going to backload his fury in the second half of this season of Hell's Kitchen.
You think so?
Yeah. Mark my words, Jason's going to go off like Mount St. Helens. Yeah, and it's gonna be big. It's gonna be epic. I mean, you've already seen what he's capable of.
He's shown a lot of signs of having some anger issues. I think he's more like a dark horse. I think he's not a favorite right now, but I definitely think he's a major contender.
All right, then we had Melanie making chicken and Michael Gabriel making chicken as well. Michael won that round, and oh my God. Then we had Anton going up with the swordfish or tuna, and Jess had tuna. They both had tuna, correct?
They both had tuna, but before that, there was 1 point given to 2 people. I think it was the one right before that one you just mentioned.
Let's see. That was Gabriel and Melanie both won their challenge.
They both won theirs.
Respectively.
Right.
Okay. Then we had Anton winning over Jess because Jess's tuna, he's like, why is it overcooked? And she got out of it pretty damn easy. She side-skirted the issue.
Well, I think she wasn't honest. She didn't say, I thought it was.
She didn't lie either. What'd she say? No. She goes, I put it in the oven.
Yeah.
And then he goes, well, maybe you shouldn't do
that at all.
Yeah.
Ever in your life.
You sear it, and then it goes raw.
Exactly.
Okay. Let's keep moving forward. Scott, duck breast over Sandra's duck breast. And so there we have that. And then men lose, red wins. Okay. You and I, we were both caught by surprise on that. I think during the commercial break I said, Lem, who is it? And he said, well, absolutely, the Blue's going to win.
Definitely.
And I said, yeah, you're right. Boom.
And we were wrong.
It shows what we know, right?
Do you think what do you think about Sandra, like, kind of, winning it? I mean, she kind of had a hard time with this particular challenge because there were twice that, one time she did win her ingredient. The next time she kind of defaulted, and it's like, fine, I'll just take whatever's on there. And she ends up being the last person and ends up winning it for her team.
I got to say, the challenge was adaptation. So, what you grab the wrong thing, then you better grab something else and you better make it sing. So that, to me, was the challenge. Sorry you ended up with, not being able to use potatoes and endive, and you had to use, the egg noodles or whatever. But it is an adaptation challenge.
Right.
She didn't do terrible.
No.
But again, I think Scott's duck breast was right on the money. Okay. So there we go. Guys, and I said this during the show, I didn't think this was a bad punishment at all. If you're not, pulling carrots out of the ground or, gutting fish or moving 800 pounds of beef or 25,000 pounds of ice or, unloading that big truck or delivery every 5 minutes, you know how bad it gets.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was a real kind of a cop-out challenge.
Well, I mean,
you got to steam the shirts. You got to shine the shoes. So what?
I think they're running out of stuff. Maybe they ran out of pennies.
I'm just saying. I didn't feel so sorry. Sometimes you feel real sorry for them,
right?
Or whenever the sous chef comes and they take like cold scallops and they whip it up and they go, "Here's your lunch,"
right?
And then they got to drink it and then at least make them hurl a little bit.
make them throw chunks. Leo wants chunks, is what you're saying, Leo.
I want cruel and unusual.
That's what you want.
It's ratings grabber.
It's Hell's Kitchen. It should be hell, is what you're saying.
Absolutely.
They should have no let up.
Yeah. So I just thought, and then the girls, they had a nice meal down south in Southern California along the coast. And I'm telling you, that must have been really fun for them.
Oh, yeah. That was beautiful. I mean, just eating right there off the ocean.
Before they left the dorm shots.
Right.
I feel like I'm invading their personal privacy.
Right.
Is it necessary?
I don't know. Would you say ratings?
It's a ratings grabber.
It's a ratings grabber.
Yeah. Chef's changing. All right. But so then in the punishment, JP, Jean-Philippe, has an exchange with Jason. And Jason says, hey, can we spit shine these shoes?
Right.
And JP goes, if you have enough spit for all the shoes. Right. And then Jason says, I have enough spit for everything, which I think if Hell's Kitchen is playing in every prison in America, that's a favorite thing a convict wants to hear. I have enough spit for everything.
He was upset, man. He was mad. He was just mad. He just, you saw it in his face. He was just upset, and he just wanted, he was just tired of losing. They've been losing consistently. Like, they've lost, like, the last 3 or 4 challenges.
I got to say this. There's 2 things that work when you're shining a shoe.
Yes.
Jason, I have enough spit for everything. Okay? You really, saliva's good, and believe it or not, pineapple juice is good.
Is pineapple juice
Yeah,
good?
because it has an acidity, and it help cleans everything up, which is weird.
Okay.
But I have never tried it, but I hear that might be it. So I guess, and then JP under his breath, you remember what he said? Spit King, idiot. Spit King, idiot.
Yeah, he didn't like that too much.
No, absolutely not.
He didn't like that too much.
And Richard's, I'm too damn old to be steaming shirts.
Right.
I have 25 chefs and 2 sous chefs. I couldn't be doing this.
Stop it.
No. Okay.
Stop it.
The classic, meanwhile, back on the beach, the girls with 3-time Olympic gold medalist Carrie Walsh.
Yes.
Probably about 6'1".
Oh, man, she was tall.
Yeah.
She was tall.
Would you rate the girls playing volleyball in their lesson?
So I would rate them 1 out of 10.
10 being best?
10 being best, 1 being the worst.
Right.
A -2. It was pretty. What they showed, now maybe they just gave us all the bad shots.
They did.
But it was pretty bad. Like, it was pretty bad. Like, a few of them took a few dives on the sand. Joy took a mean dive. Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
It was pretty bad.
I love how Keisha, again, found the inspiration by holding the gold medal.
Right.
I just, they're capturing the cool moments, not that they don't always, but, that was really, again, that piece of metal spoke to her.
Right.
And I like how they used, this athlete who's at such a lofty position, who's attained her goals, to have it rub off on the winning team. The guys could have had the same, inspiration.
They could have.
Yeah.
They could have.
I'm so glad the guys weren't, winning, on the beach,
Playing volleyball. Could you see them playing volleyball?
No.
Could you?
Absolutely not.
It would have been a catastrophe.
Yeah. Okay, well, that was really good. Let's get back to the dorms. A first time in Hell's Kitchen's history. It was a weird kind of Gordon Ramsay taking the young chefs one-on-one with an evaluation. I have never seen that before. Pretty incredible. And did you remember Keisha? Did Keisha have a one-on-one? I don't remember seeing Keisha in there.
I can't remember.
Let's go through. Let's go back to the beginning of these performance evaluations. Okay. Sandra gets first up. Oh, by the way, Jessica.
Yeah, the secretary.
Phone hog. I mean, seriously, a phone hog.
But wait, was her reasoning? It was I always wanted to talk to Gordon Ramsay on the phone. Wasn't that what she said? Like, as if like he's calling her directly. Like, she's just picking up the phone.
Right.
And he's saying, "Get me so and so." But that's what she wanted to hear.
I've always wanted to talk to Gordon.
Right. She is. Yeah. It's pretty ugly cry. That's all I gotta say. It's bad, man. It's bad. It's
we have somebody on the phone for you guys.
Oh, what?
We do. Well, listen, joining in on the conversation is one of the 12 chefs competing, and she's part of this cliffhanger. She's all the way from absolutely Philadelphia. She is on fire right now. One of Lem's favorites, one of my favorites.
Yes.
Please welcome to the Hell's Kitchen After Show, Joy Parham Thomas. Hello, Joy.
Hi, guys. How you doing?
What up?
That's Lem. I'm Leo. Good evening.
Hi, Lem. Hi, Leo. How are you guys?
We are excellent. So glad to have you on the show.
I'm happy you guys are having me. It's an honor. Thank you.
Where did you take in the episode tonight, Joy?
What I took in from tonight's episode, I'm learning that I really do have a very, very sarcastic characteristic. But other than that, the only thing I really took from it is that, putting pepper on white things bother me, but the same stuff every week, you know. We're all working under stress, working under pressure. We're just trying to please chef.
Where were you watching the show physically?
Today I was in my bed. I was lying in my bed, and I had a nice cold one next to me, and I just sat back and watched the show. It was one of those days.
All right.
That's what's up.
We love that. Let's go back to the first episode. You may not want to go back to the first episode, but when you had to present a signature dish to Gordon, it was the chilled corn. Are you there?
I'm here.
I should have brought it up.
She's like, I'm off the show.
That's your Leo. You're getting out of line tone.
Right.
But I hate to paraphrase what Chef said. Take us back to that moment. He said it was runny, cold scrambled eggs with someone's vomit at the bottom. How does that make you feel as a person when Gordon Ramsay rams that down your throat?
You know, when Chef said that day, it bothered me a little bit, but once we got past that moment, I stood at the past and I thought about it, and it's just like, this is just my first moment here.
Mm-hmm.
This is an unfamiliar place to me. So tomorrow when I see you guys in the kitchen, you won't really think that. You'll think that I'm a threat. You won't think that I'm a pushover anymore. So I wasn't really worried about it. It kind of been working out in my favor, I guess you would say.
That's awesome. Joy, I have a question. Like Leo was saying, you've definitely been one of my favorites throughout the season.
Oh, stop it. I'm blessed.
Yeah. Oh, shoot. Joy
One-way trip to Philadelphia, please.
Right.
Lem Gonsalves.
I'm on it. Playing right here. But I feel like, especially like not so much now, but in the earlier episodes, I felt like you may have been somewhat of an underdog, maybe because of your experience or what have you. Did you feel that way? And if you did that kind of help fuel you as far as like wanting to, show your presence in the kitchen?
I can agree with you a little bit. I guess when you watch from the first episode to tonight's episode, I felt like I was an underdog, but that was a personal issue. That was because I was going back into I guess a part of the kitchen that it wasn't really familiar to me anymore. I had actually just graduated from college.
Okay.
So even though I had, I was working and I was supervising small kitchens and things like that, I wasn't really doing fine dining and things of that nature anymore. So I was really getting readjusted. So as I got comfortable in the setting, I was able to flourish a little bit more. But I definitely started cooking with more confidence, as the show goes on. And as far as, like, the way the team viewed me, I mean, I'm still there. So,
obviously,
maybe I was an asset, and I feel like everyone there was an asset in their own right. And I understand why they would think I could be an underdog. I could be one of the weakest links in the beginning, too. And I understand it. So it's just part of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Take us back to meeting Christina, the winner of Hell's Kitchen Season 10. And what was that conversation? What was that meeting like? Okay,
well, for some people who don't know, one of the main reasons why I was really excited to meet Christina was because she's gay and whatever. And me, myself, I do love the lady. So, I was really excited to see someone from the community who had got really far.
Wow.
And just really meet them or whatever. So I was just having a moment. I was starstruck. I was having a groupie moment. But I was happy I did get to meet her because when I actually really started watching Hell's Kitchen, Season 10 was the season that was on.
Oh,
so
okay.
That's actually the cast that I'm the most familiar with. I mean, I have watched other seasons, but Season 10 is really where it's like, oh my gosh, I really like these people. And I grew a lot of respect for Christina watching that season because she just worked with like a real poise. She was just always so calm. I wanted to try to embrace some of those qualities, but I'm not as reserved as Christina, obviously. But I really just love her. I love her style in the kitchen and the way she moves.
Yeah, I remember that season very well. It's one of my favorite seasons, and I did want her to win. So I'm glad you shared that sentiment. I kind of want to go just to this particular episode since this is what we're doing. And you guys won the challenge on this one. You guys have been kicking butt for a while. The guys are just hurting. It's a kind of a twofold question. First of all, do you feel that at this level in the game, like at this where this episode is now, that you're just an overall better team than the men, that you communicate better, or is it just that they're just that bad? And then the other part of my question is, how well do you play volleyball? Because it seemed like you were struggling out there.
Well, I'll answer the volleyball question first. I do not play volleyball at all.
Okay.
No. I dribbled a ball a little bit back in junior high.
Yeah.
I played a little softball in high school, but I'm not really much of an athlete.
Okay. Okay.
And but I did enjoy it. I didn't mind rolling around in the sand. We don't have many beaches out here in Philly. Actually, we have none. So,
right. I was going to say, where's their beach?
It's not. We have to drive over to good old Jersey.
Right.
So, I didn't mind it. But as far as the blue team goes and the red team, I feel like I mean, I was a member of the red team, so I can only really speak on what goes on there.
Right.
But even though we had our rifts during dinner service, you know, what you don't see is that we really take those moments to bond with each other before dinner service and after dinner service. And sometimes it's a little hostile because, you know, emotions are high and, you know, things happen. But we always take that time to regroup with each other. And I think with the guys, they never really took that second to bond. And bonding is just something we do as women. So we kind of have an advantage, you know. I think it was Jessica who said it one episode, I'm happy I have boobies right now. Because it worked in our favor. It's been working in our favor. We're able to communicate with each other just a little bit better. And then, I mean, I don't know how the guys feel about being in the kitchen all night long, but we were tired and we want to leave. You know, we want to get dinner service over, we want to leave, and we want to go sit down. It's like a day's work in there. You know, you don't want to be in there all night long, so we go in there on a mission and we complete it.
What about the isolation of Hell's Kitchen? How did that treat you? Just not being in touch with the outside world at all while you're competing.
Myself, I didn't really mind very much. I was okay with it because, you know, I went from the East Coast to the West Coast, so I looked at it like a big vacation. I was on vacation, and my phone was off. If you needed me, you can send me a message. That's the way I looked at it. I really didn't mind. It was okay for me.
There was a really beautiful moment in this episode when you were all deliberating, the red team, and you had talked about, you know, Jessica said that she was homeless, and you said something to the effect of, Joy, that she didn't need to broadcast that. Take us back to that special moment in tonight's episode.
Well, you know, one thing I definitely want to start with, saying is that I'm not trying to downplay anything that Jessica experienced, you know. But, you know, editing isn't always our friend. But, you know, Jessica, she does have a story, but all 20 of us that were there had stories. You know, as we saw episodes prior, DeMarco spoke a little bit about his story and things like that. So, you know, we all have a story, but me personally, the way I move is I don't talk about the story. I let the story kind of just move inside of me and let that motivate me throughout the time that I'm there. Because if I talk about it, then I feel like I'm giving people an advantage almost over me, and I don't want to do that. And I don't want anybody to think I'm using my story as a crutch. I'm here because I want to cook. Everything else that's going on is irrelevant because while I'm cooking. So, you know, that's just how I think. That's just my school of thought. But, you know, I do empathize with Jessica because it's not fun not knowing where you're going to wake up at in the morning. Not at all. So, you know, I do feel for her and what she experienced, and I'm happy that she's in a much better place now, and I am too. You know, but we go through stuff. It's human nature.
Oh, most definitely. You speak of Jessica. Did you, I know that there are times, and you made a good point, and we kind of bring this up sometimes, where editing is not your friend. You know how it goes down, but of course, when they get in the editing booth, things, you know, misconstrue or whatever, and it may not be exactly how it went down, but that's what TV is. Did you have any major beef with Jessica in particular, or anyone else on the red team, or were you just gung-ho about just doing a good job as a chef?
No, I would be lying if I said I never. I did think Simone was crazy. That was not editing. That's how I felt. But
I think we all felt that.
Yeah, you know, she's still a good woman also. I still respect her for even just taking the time to come out there. Because, I mean, it takes a lot just to be there. You have to really get into a special zone to be able to deal with the things that go on there. But, you know, that's how I felt about that one. But as far as the other 9 women on the team, I love them all equally. You know, even Sandra, believe it or not. You know, I do. I think they're all great women, and I think they all brought something awesome to the table. You know, some people I was a little bit more emotionally connected to than others. But I do. It's still, the love is equal across the board. I think they're all great people, and it's like I'm so happy to actually sit back and watch us together again, because it was a good moment. It's like kind of like watching yourself during high school or something, you know. It's like, hey, virtual, I mean, no, you know, like a video yearbook or something like that, you know. So
diary
it's okay,
or something, yeah.
They're all great women. They're all great women. I don't have time to beef with anyone. It's not really my style.
Well, if they were going to do a Hell's Kitchen season 12 highlight reel about how tense it gets in the kitchen and how sometimes we you as the chefs kind of blow off steam. There's a couple, you hit critical mass a couple of times, Joy. Tell me about those super times where the veins in your neck were coming out and you're like, come on, come on. Tell me about those times.
Well, it's yeah, you get on edge. I want to win. I want my team to win. It was never. When I say I'm referring to the red team, and I just want us to win. That was really what it is. So, I mean, if I got to get intense and yell and scream, so be it. If I'm frustrated because, like, Chef is probably breathing down my neck or he's probably underneath my skin at that moment, sometimes you got to grunt and groan and let it roll off you or whatever. So, I don't care. And, the funny thing is some people say to me, it's based on, like, the first episode, oh, my goodness, you went crazy. You went off in there. Yeah, but it doesn't matter because we made it through service. My team made it through service, and we're back to see another day, in Hell's Kitchen. So at the end of the day, one thing Chef Ramsay told us, Chef Andy told us, and Chef James told us is it's just all about bouncing back, So that's what you got to do sometimes. Hey, it's Hell's Kitchen.
It's Hell's Kitchen. Speaking of Hell's Kitchen, we've had several guests in the studio and on the phone, just like yourself, and we always kind of get their take on, Gordon Ramsay himself as a person. And a lot of them say that, it's very daunting to be in a kitchen with, someone been their idol, someone of that caliber, trying to learn from them. How was your experience, like, with Chef Ramsay as a whole, as a person and as a mentor?
Oh, man, I love Chef Ramsay. I would love to work with him again. I would love to let him scream at me again. It's worth it. You really do. I've taken so much from being there and just from him as a person. And not based on culinary technique, but he gives good words of wisdom. And he has such a strong work ethic that you can't do anything but just be humbled in his presence, I guess, because if you're there, hopefully your goal is to be a lot farther than where you are standing at that pass every day. And I really look up to him because of that. And Chef Ramsay, he's crazy. I mean, he's crazy as cat shit. I've never seen someone with so much energy. He just bounces off the walls, and he can say, like, fuck every other word. I don't understand it. But in the midst of all that, he is like one of the sweetest guys I've ever met. He really has like a charismatic spirit and just a big heart, and he wants to help you and bring out the best in you, no matter who you are.
So you put up a plate that you obviously put your love into, and you've created something that is good. Gordon tastes it, gives you a compliment. Take us to that moment. Do you have any of those that you have in your memory bank?
I think it's probably every moment I go up there and put up a plate, even the bad plates, even the skinny girl pizza plates and stuff like that. But
pizza plates. I remember that.
I get excited for the critique, the good and bad. You want to hear it because you want to fix it. So all those moments are, I'm always on edge. If you really get a chance to kind of look at some of the things I'm doing, I'm always fidgeting around my hands, I'm twiddling my fingers, and I'm up there and he's critiquing because you just want to know. And you just want to know. I'm not even looking for like a round of applause from Chef sometimes. You just want to know what he has to say. You want to fix it if it's wrong, and if it's right, you still want to find a better way to do it.
That's really good feedback, and I think it's important, like you said, to be there on this show and be better than what you are, because obviously there can only be one winner. So the rest of the people, you got to get something from, and if you get where you, like you said, you come from a better situation than what you were, then I think you're winning at the end of the day. And you're able to take that back. Is there a dish on Hell's Kitchen in the season that you were on that you're just like, I never want to try to cook that again? I don't know if it was that pizza, but is there something that you remember that was like, I'm going to stay away from that? That was like my worst dish, like anything that stands out?
Actually, today editing was on my side because today's episode was actually one of those dishes. I had soba noodles on that dish, and they drove me crazy. I don't know what was going on that day with that soba noodle, but they wanted to stick together, and they were doing like a ramen noodle thing, and it was driving me crazy. So that was the one dish where I'm like, I still, it runs through my mind, like, I know I could have did that so much better. It's probably one of those dishes I'll recreate eventually in my life, but today won't be the day. But that's definitely the dish. And because anything Asian isn't really my forte.
Okay.
But Well, at the time it wasn't, but leaving there, I had to be, wiser and say I need to study a little bit more. So that's what I've been doing. I've been dabbling a little.
I have a question about the confessionals. When you are giving your soul over to the confessional booth, are you playing the game?
You said that so right.
What's it like in the confessional, and what's your strategy in the confessional? Are you telling 100% truth, or are you playing the game? How does it work?
I don't go in the confessional with strategy. My strategy normally for confessional is like to get in and out, because they would normally bring you in for confessional for me when I was trying to eat something. So, it's like, let's go. It seemed like I was always in the midst of trying to make a sandwich. But it was no strategy in confessional. Well, I had one strategy. I did try to limit the profanity as much as possible in confessional, because I could. Sometimes it's a little tricky in the kitchen. It kind of comes with the job description, I guess. Must know how to curse. But
it is Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah, you got to do it right for Chef Ramsay.
Right.
That's it.
Who was eliminated because this was a cliffhanger?
Oh, I can't tell you that.
Hey, I gave it a shot, Joy.
I can't tell you.
Joy, will you come back on the after show, please? Please.
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
Well, we really appreciate it. And again, I know that you're tight with the Hell's Kitchen community, all the chefs, and all. Isn't it strange how now through social media you're all connected? It's amazing.
It's like a little family. It's cute. I like it. A little reality family.
Well, we're going to send you this on YouTube. We're live now, but iTunes as well. It's going to go, and we want you to send it out to all your fans, okay?
I will, and thank you so much for having me, guys, and I can't wait to come back. This was fun. You guys are funny.
Well, you know what? Stay strong and kick butt. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Joy.
All right, thanks. Joy, so sweet.
Super sweet.
Yeah.
That's why she's our favorite.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Yes.
right. Okay, well, let's get it back into this. I thought we were going to have service.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, it's a challenge. It's cook for your life.
Right.
So here we go.
Best of the worst.
Through the evaluations, it was Jessica and Richard. A cook-off to the death.
Right.
Whoever wins stays. Whoever loses is gone.
Done.
Never seen that in the history of Hell's Kitchen.
No, and I thought it was good because whatever reason they didn't have, a set dinner service, and that's what was filling it. But I thought it was good to not only have that to where they're cooking for their lives to prove themselves, because like we were saying earlier, Jessica, she's up for elimination last episode. She gives her, sob story or whatever, which, to try to, again, at the end of the day, is trying to stay on. This is a way you actually have to prove yourself in the kitchen if you're going to stay.
And to prove yourself is exactly what you have to do. 30 minutes to cook lobster risotto,
yes,
a halibut dish,
yes,
and a scallop dish.
Yes.
I'm telling you, it looked to me like Jessica was using the same spoon to taste. I don't know if that was the magic of editing, but it looked that looked a little gross.
It appeared that way.
Yeah, right? And then so when she flipped her piece of fish, it was about as gentle as a transformer.
Clunk, clunk.
I was like, come on, Jess. Her risotto wasn't very loose. The risotto shouldn't stack up like this. It should, it should move around flat.
Right.
So, again, she got docked for that. Richard came in with a bad risotto as well. Mushy.
Yeah, and it tasted like cheese.
Oh, too much cheese.
Too much cheese.
He had a good halibut, and then it just kind of came down to it. And then, of course, it went to a cliffhanger. But I will say this, and I don't think I'm giving anything away. In the previews for next week's Hell's Kitchen, I looked.
And?
I did not see Richard on the blue team.
Did you see Jess on the red team?
No, I can't. No.
Oh,
did you?
I did not.
So they did that on purpose.
Of course they did.
They showed a little.
They're not going to give it away.
All right.
They're not going to give it away.
Well, okay. Here's what we're going to say.
Okay.
I don't know. It's a cliffhanger. We can't really give anything away.
But we can give predictions.
Yeah, we can give predictions.
Let's do predictions.
Okay. Let's talk about who's going to stay and who's going to go.
Let's do it.
And now your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Gotta love it.
You do gotta love it. Well, I am gonna stick by Chef Anton Testino. He to me is getting stronger and stronger. I think he's feeling more comfortable in the kitchen. I feel like he has a voice in the kitchen. I feel like he has allies with every blue shirt. So when you have everyone not gunning for you, because I feel like on the other side of the kitchen, everyone was gunning for Jessica.
Right.
I mean, look at those evaluations.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
They were like playing hangman, and it was Jessica.
I think she got all the, I would be safe to say she got all the votes.
So the thing about Richard, Gordon, and I hate to use this, but he says, I want somebody young. I want to mold somebody. And Richard may be too set in his ways. I'm sure he would, work for Gordon Ramsay, but to be the new head chef, it's the forefront of food. Like the celebrity judge said, he goes, this seems a little dated to me. I wouldn't really do this.
Right.
These guys, at the level that they're competing for, it changes every month. Here's what we're not doing anymore.
Right.
We're leaving them behind.
Exactly.
And, and now it's all about, greens that you wouldn't even know of are the rage. I'm like, what is that? How about lettuce?
Yeah. What happened to lettuce?
What happened? I miss lettuce.
That's so 2012. Lettuce is 2012.
Who's leaving?
So I think, out of the two, I definitely think it's Jess. I think overall, based on the critiques that they gave out, I think she had the worst of them. And I think it's time for her to go.
I believe you. I'm going to stick with that. And I think Rochelle is getting stronger too.
Yes, she is.
So, and then in the evaluations, again, I think Melanie, Chef said Melanie's getting better. Chef said Rochelle had natural potential. Richard, are you a head chef? Are you head chef material, or are you just a cook? So we'll see.
Right.
So again, Keisha, don't be so reserved. Come out and get it. And Sandra, you gotta. Do you care? I don't know if that was editing, but she just was a little lackadaisical in her answer.
Exactly.
So we'll have to see. All right. With that said, it's a cliffhanger. We'll have to wait and see.
It is a cliffhanger.
You want to make a little gentleman's bet right now?
I'm just gonna say that no. I mean, we have the same one.
All right.
We have the same one.
Chasing Maria Menounos, Tuesday nights, 10 o'clock, 9 Central, Oxygen Channel. Maria Menounos doing the wrestling, WWE, with the new wrestler who's getting her head slammed for real.
Right.
It's awesome. I love that episode.
Yes.
Chasing Maria. It's at hashtag Chasing Maria. Lem, where can we find you?
You can find me on social media everywhere. You can find me on Instagram, on Twitter, and on Facebook. And it's a great handle. It's The Poet Saint, and it's that way all day, every day.
You can find me on Twitter, 2 words, at Movie Interview. At Movie Interview. Thank you very much, Roar USA, for the duds, and we will see you next week for the Hell's Kitchen After Show, the #1 Hell's Kitchen fan show there is in existence.
Yes.
Get out!
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.